Don't go on your next hunt without knowing why you might miss. Get your free copy of Shot Placement 101 today. Details at closingthedistance.com.
Welcome to this week's Closing the Distance. On today's show, we're going to be in the bow stand with pro staffer Chad Stevenson. Chad shoots two really great deer. He has one of these dream seasons. Let's get started.
Closing the Distance is brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Hunter Safety System, dedicated to saving hunters' lives. Executioner Broadheads, born to kill. Treason, don't just blend, become. And by Citadel, revolutionary shoot-down shape. After the break, staffer Chad Stevenson has a dream season. Huge bucks are on the way. We'll be right back. Get a head start on your next trophy buck. Order stand placement advanced techniques today at Closing the Distance. Closing the Distance is made possible by Matthews Solo Cam. Catch us if you can. Tree limb quivers. There's only one tree limb quiver. Sword sights. Sharp solutions in aiming. Elusive Wildlife Technologies. Taking the elusive out of wildlife. The Stage Deer Attractant. Finally, a synthetic scent that works. And by the amazing Luminoc. Can your arrow not do this?
Welcome back to Closing the Distance. We're in Central Texas with pro staffer Chad Stevenson. Check out this huge buck.
Well, it's opening weekend here in West Texas for big whitetails. So excited. It's been 100 degrees during the day. It's only 70 degrees right now. Tell you what, we got some big bucks we've seen on the cameras. It's a bunch of live oaks. We're going to a spot where all these live oaks are. We're gonna try to put a little corn out and hopefully draw them out. There's lots of acorns on the ground, lots of sign. So excited, I can't believe it's whitetail season. Hopefully we put a big buck on the ground this morning.
Well, you talk about a good year. I mean, this year looked like it was gonna be maybe possibly one of my best years ever. I had some incredible deer. We had a lot of good rain. And this particular deer, saw him early on when he was maybe 3.5 years old. And he had something special. We knew that this deer may actually be a really good deer one year, and boy, I tell you what, he was something.
Just got it towed. Oh man, I was shaking so bad. Well, I was aiming for the heart. I don't know where I hit him because I was shaking so bad, but I know he's down. I hear him crashing. God, that's That's a beautiful deer. Did that just happen? Oh my God. That's... Holy cow.
You glad we stayed in the stand a little longer?
Yeah. Yeah. We got to our stand set up this morning. There were wasps. We're in a ground zero. There were wasps all underneath the door to get in on the string. We said we were going to try to remember the wasp spray. We forgot it. I bought 10 cans last night on the way here. So we had to go to the wrong setup. The wind is blowing directly to the corn. But I put 2 ozonics up. I got one shooting high power straight out the blind. I know it's a no-no, but the wind's blowing straight that way. And I tell you what, it paid off. Oh man, that's unreal, man. Hey Scott, there he is right there. Man, what a beast. Oh my goodness, look at this deer. Oh man, what a gorgeous animal. Look at that, what a beautiful, wide, tall, dark chocolate horn. Perfect, typical 10-point. Oh man, I couldn't be happier. That is an incredible deer. Mature, beautiful, beautiful. Look at this cape, is gorgeous. Man, I tell you what, I'm gonna shoulder mount that and put it right above my desk where I can look at it for years to come. What a beautiful deer. That's Washita Matthews right there. What an incredible animal. Man, look at the tine length, this side over here. I mean, it's perfect, typical, but these G2 and G3 on this side are so long. Man, it's got good mass. Tell you what, that is a beautiful Texas typical 10-point right there.
Coming up, Chad's dream season continues. Closing the Distance will be right back. Closing the Distance is brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Hunter Safety System, dedicated to saving hunters' lives. Executioner Broadheads, born to kill. Treason, don't just blend, become. And by Citadel, revolutionary shoot-down shape.
So I just killed what I believe is the prettiest deer, to me, the prettiest deer that I've ever shot. And I've shot some good deer over the years, but this one takes the cake. 2 weeks later, here I am in another ground blind, other side of the ranch, and a deer that I've been waiting to see came out.
that just happened. 15 points. That deer is unbelievable. I cannot believe that just happened. Oh, son. We got here 2 hours before we even normally would get to the stand. And that deer jumped out right after we closed the blind up. There's an older deer that you saw with him. We've tried to kill that deer for 3 years. He could be 7. It's the best he's looked. He's a management buck, but I saw a big deer jump the fence about 300 yards out. My cameraman couldn't get on him. And I saw a big, wide, big-bodied deer jump, and I could kind of hear the thud, and I thought, oh my gosh, they always run together. Which is why I don't ever see that deer, because the other deer is so cagey. It's like he's his bodyguard. I'm glad we got here early. Oh my God, I can't believe that just happened.
Good job, good patience. You had a lot of patience on that one.
Oh man, I'm a little excited. I cheated, I didn't tell you. I put an Ozonics on high power on top of the blind. Oh, it's a good sign. God, I'm still shaking. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at this deer. That is a beast.
Oh my gosh.
That's one of my best deer ever. I cannot believe this deer has ground growage. I had no idea it was this big. Man, he's got way more mass. Look at that. What a gorgeous animal. Oh man. We lost the blood trail for a little bit and we started circling around just trying to do a grid. He only went about 60 yards. But it's just the brush is so tall out here. It's been a good year, as you can see from these horns. Oh my goodness. What a beautiful deer. Look at that. That is incredible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 points. Look at that. Oh, what an awesome hunt.
Coming up, real-world tips on managing the members in your hunting club. Stay around for this. Closing the Distance is made possible by Matthews Solo Cam. Catch us if you can. Tree limb quivers. There's only one tree limb quiver. Sword sights. Sharp solutions in aiming. Elusive Wildlife Technologies. Taking the elusive out of wildlife. The Stage Deer Attractant. Finally, a synthetic scent that works. And by the amazing Luminaut. Can your aeronaut do this?
Besides owning Elusive Wildlife Technologies, Chad is the ranch manager or lease manager of a big hunting club out in Central Texas. And it's around 2,500 acres. It's a low fence property that has a lot of deer numbers and they have a lot of big bucks, got really, really good genetics on this ground. And deer management is really easy. The problem that we have with deer management is the people management part, or is managing the hunters. And I asked Chad what are his guidelines or what does he do to tell other lease members that a buck is not on the hit list?
Well, what we've done, and I hear some club members / lease members laughing in the background. They may think, I'm a little too strict on that, but I actually require my hunters to show me video footage or good trail cam pictures of the deer. And I really like to have the previous year pictures to make a good case, because everybody wants to shoot a good deer, and a lot of us will see a deer that we all kind of know he's 4, but we're trying to make him 5, and we know he's not. And a lot of that still happens all the time. I'm not going to say I haven't done that too. It's hard. I've got one this year that I think is 4 or 3 last year, trying to make him 5, but he's a typical 12 and he's unbelievable. So it's really hard, and sometimes it takes it takes patience to get these deer to get to that age. But
You know, properties are different. Some bucks reach their potential on average at 6 years old, and some other ground at 7 or even 8 years old. I asked Chad what are his goals and how he relays this information to other club members on the lease.
honestly, 6.5 is the year that I would prefer to shoot a deer. And our deer actually, if we have good rains and everything, 6.5 is the best year for us. But a lot of times we don't get that far because of being on a low fence property. We end up having to take them at 5.5. And a lot of them get through because we're bow hunting. A lot of deer make it, you know, like just a deer in one of the hunts that I just went through. One of them, we've been trying to kill him for years. We haven't been able to kill him. He's just outsmarting us, too cagey. And you know, we have deer die old age. It's really special to have deer out there that can get that old on a low fence property with all those other hunters around you. But it can happen if you're just patient and you just hold off and do the right thing, and your payday will come, I promise.
You know, a huge part of management is knowing what your neighbors do. I asked Chad if he shares his buck information with adjoining landowners.
We don't share the deer. I mean, it's hard because the neighbors that we have are, if it's brown, it's down. If it has good antlers and it's 3 years old, they're going to shoot it. So that's the hard part. And let me tell you something. The 15 point I shot, my best year that I just had, the 15 pointer that I shot, my son sat with me and saw that deer year prior and begged to shoot that deer and didn't understand. I tried to explain to him about deer management and why Dad does the things that he does. And you know, when I showed him a picture of the deer after I shot it, he realized why I waited and what a good decision that was. This dude, you know, one thing that's so wonderful is my youngest son was with me last year when we saw this deer, and he begged me to shoot it. And I said, Braden, he's 4. And he's like, he's so big. And I was like, you just don't understand. And he's been asking how big he is this year. I just sent him a picture and he's just blown away. He's going on and on about it. Very excited. So it's good to teach them too, you know, when they're young, without letting them go. You absolutely cannot shoot that deer when it's 4.5. I mean, if you shoot a deer that's 4.5 or 3.5, you just became that person that you're fighting against. In managing properties that I've been doing for years, I've learned a lot. And one of the things that's typical on a place that I'm managing is the guys, you know, they're new on the place and they're seeing a deer that is 4.5, and they're trying to make them 5, they're trying to make them 6, and they're just like, you know, arguing with me about, you know, the age of the deer. And for a long time, I was real strict and real stern on, look, you cannot shoot this deer. It's got to be at least 5.5 or older. And they would be upset with me. And some of them would say, well, it's easy for you to say. You have lots of big deer that you shot. And that's true. And I thought about that. And after many years, I thought, you know, they're right. If they're going to pay all this money to be on this lease, and they're going to, you know, do all the things to help grow the deer, and they're going to pay all their money, and they're going to shoot that deer, and they want to get it mounted. Okay, you got one shot every year, go ahead. And guess what happens every single time? They shoot the deer because I allow them to. The other hunters are mad. Why did you let them do it? You didn't let me do that. Well, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes. I let the people do it every single time without fail. They've regretted it. And they've come back later and said, you know, Chad, I really wish I would have took your advice. I wish I wouldn't have shot that deer. I appreciate you letting me shoot him, but man, you know, there's not a week goes by I don't think about that deer and think, you know, what would he have been if I would have waited one more year? And now I use that and I tell them that. And sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't, but patience pays off.
On today's show, pro staffer Chad Stevenson has his best whitetail season ever, and every one of us have experienced kind of what that's like, and it's an amazing thing. There are some years that it just doesn't matter where you go or what you do. It's like you can't get out of their way. Every blind you sit, every tree you go to, it's just deer everywhere, and we have those great seasons. But you know, the other side of that is true as well. All of us have experienced those years that it doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter where you go. It just seems like it never comes together, and you can never seem to get it to all go your way. You just feel snake bit. You know what you got to do on those years when that happens? You just got to keep hunting. You just got to keep going. You just got to keep sitting. You got to keep putting yourself in the right position as much as you can, because you never know when it's just going to flip and it's going to go your way. You know, life is so much like that, isn't it? There's so many ups, there's so many downs. There's some days that it just seems like everything's going your way. Some weeks, everything is just happening the way that you wanted it to happen. And then there's some weeks, there's some months, maybe there's some years that it just seems like no matter what you do, it feels like life's against you and nothing's going your way. And I would tell you two things. Number one, never quit, never give up. You just got to keep on shooting, keep on doing the best you can. And number two, and most importantly, put your trust in God. Put your faith in God. Sometimes we go through seasons of testing where nothing seems to be going our way, but God is doing a work on the inside. God is testing us. God is building our character. God is building our hearts and building our minds. And when we trust in God, we can truly believe that with Him, the best is yet to come. Your story is never over as long as Jesus is in it. If you'd like to know more about a personal relationship with God through His Son, Jesus Christ, go to closingthedistance.com and click on the Moment of Truth tab.